While I was incarcerated at the Bi-State Jail, there was all these Confederates who had come into our town. I don't know if y'all are from this town, but this town has been dry from alcohol for like 50 years. Just 8 years ago, they legalized beer and wine sales in every gas station and grocery store. But before that, you couldn't find a drop of alcohol. There was no bars. There was no restaurants with a bar in it. Texarkana, Texas, and Bowie County was entirely dry by the 18th Amendment. So I was in there in 9 months I spent there. And while I was there, things were so hectic in the system at that time that being a civil Christian, a civil pioneer, and a forerunner for the gospel, I had a big webpage representing the civil revolution, Jesus Christ, all the civil pioneers, elite people who actually won people, for Christ. What's the word say? He who wins souls is wise. That a soul winner, I think all of us can remember being a soul winner, because that's the most responsible and prestigious achievement that a person can have, because they've already got everything in order. They don't need to wipe the plank out of their eye. They don't have a plank in their eye. They're not going around looking for a speck in somebody's eye. And they got a plank in their own. So what I want to encourage y'all is to know that we fight through thick and thin. While I was there in that jail in 2014, the jailers who signed the contract with the sheriff's department were called LaSalle Corrections. It's like a rent-a-cop service, like a security service of some sort that is under a contract, under a lease. Okay, they had a 10-year lease in the end. But anyway, while their lease was still in effect, they had lawsuits against them for committing atrocities and cruel and unusual punishment against inmates in their custody. Now, the Eighth Amendment protects all of us from cruel and unusual punishment. So cruel and unusual punishment would be, misusing, like somebody would go in there to try to suffocate somebody to death, out of foul play, or something like that, or do something wretched, like recklessly endanger them while somebody else came in and attacked them. Okay, it's a very serious and dangerous saga with people who violate the Eighth Amendment, because they're really terrorists. They really are. And some people who were jailers then targeted me because I was a civil Christian. Like, I don't care what they said about me in this burglary or whatever then. It had been 6 months I'd been in that jail. 5 months or so, 6 months. And I was on fire for God. I ain't gonna lie. I was on fire for God at that time. Like, for real. I was washing my mouth, wasn't cussing, wasn't getting along with anybody who was doing dirt. There was no drugs in there. I had to go to segregation because the general population was so out of whack. Like, people were trying to get over on people. There was a lot of racism, especially for Islam and Black Power. Islam and Black Power were really evil at that time. It didn't matter if you were a civil Christian or if you weren't for Islam or supporting their organization, whether they be Indian, Chinese, or Middle Eastern, or African, they would target you. They would target you no matter if you were black. Like, they would take advantage. Like, if I was a black preacher up in preaching, they would try to take advantage of me if I didn't go along with what they wanted. For real. And that's cruel and unusual punishment also goes along with mistreating elders. So I'm just here to tell you that that Black Power and the Confederacy together both fought against the 18th Amendment. Does anybody know what the 18th Amendment is? Nobody in here can tell me what the 18th Amendment is? No, that's the 8th. The 18th Amendment is a liquor ban, where the U.S. Constitution stated that in this place there shall be no alcohol sold, bartered for, in effect whatsoever. And that's what Bowie County had. For 50 straight years, it had no alcohol. No alcohol, nowhere. There was not even a restaurant with a bar in it. You had to go out across state line to Arkansas or into Domino to a whole other county. But other than that, you didn't see beer or wine at gas stations. You didn't see beer or wine at the grocery store. It wasn't some boring town. This place was elite. Like, there was civil pioneers crawling all over this place. So I was all for it, man. I got baptized in Colorado. My dad was the fire chief. I left Colorado to come down here to be among the civil, sober people in the Bible Belt, right? I got here, came back to settle in Texarkana, wound up getting tortured by these individuals together while they used an inmate who was convicted of murder and sentenced to life, who was back from prison on an appeal in segregation next to me in a one-man cell. We had one-man cells, 23-hour lockdown. Now, I filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit's kind of back and forth of being open, closed, reopened, closed. So here's the thing. I'm 42 years old, and I'm going through this motion. For 3 solid weeks, these jailers used this individual to attack. Try to scare me. They're popping my door open from the control room. Boom, out of nowhere. Boom, my door comes open. We're in a pod, we're dangerous. There's 8 cells. Boom, all closed doors, right? So the door comes popping open, right? The door comes popping open. First time I just closed it, boom. Well, 6 more times it happens. But this guy winds up at my door every morning threatening me because of my witness to Jesus Christ. It first began, I started witnessing to him. You know, why are you here? What are you here for? You know, I'm here for this and that. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I'm all about the dry county. I'm all about the civil revolution. You know, this. I'm not racist. I like black people. And he's like, well, I'm for Islam. I'm here on appeal. I have a murder charge and all this other stuff. We started talking about politics. Well, he started hating on me because I wouldn't support Barack Obama's organization. Okay? He started hating on me, started threatening me. Then the Confederates came in who were jailers, who were new in this town and new in this contract, the sheriff's department, through the South. And they both teamed up, man, and started trying to scare Christ out of me. Okay, the only thing I did in that pod was witness to people. The only thing I did in that pod was walk around and witness to people at the cell. I got along with everybody else. I would be doing rounds. If I saw scripture in there or something, somebody reading the Bible, you know, I talked to them. I witnessed to them. So, anyway, I was getting along with everybody else, but this dude started threatening me, started trying to get in my cell, prying open the beanhole, throwing urine in my the COs wouldn't do anything about it. They were all Confederate redneck brothers. They were all disgraceful people talking about making moonshine in there and all this and that. So if anybody knows what it's like to be tortured psychologically, if anybody knows what that's like, and knows the effects of coercion, then maybe you'll understand when they came to me after 3 weeks of being tortured, the 7th time that door opened, he came in. This dude, they took away my mat, the CO took away my mat, because I was wedging the door with a string and not laying on the rack. I would put my mat by the door, so in case they popped the door, they came in, he was showing his genitalia off camera, sexually harassing. They would do nothing about it. They let him out an extra hour a day, 23-hour lockdown, maximum security. Gave him an extra tray every meal. Like, these people actually wanted to attack the U.S. Constitution and the Civil Revolution and Jesus together, Islam and the Confederacy. Isn't that sad? I thought we warded out all those idiots that sat there and segregated a bunch of innocent African Americans and picked on their own kids because they didn't support the Ku Klux Klan. Well, whatever they were into, it was some moonshine and all this other stuff because that's what they said anyway. I wound up under duress. If any of you know what it's like to be under coercion, does anybody know what coercion is? It's like you're one man and there's like 6 wild dogs around you. One will come in. You try to chase it away, but in the process, another one will kind of come into your blind spot. So, coercion is where somebody would emphasize that they're going to do something to you unless you do what they want you to do. So that's like saying, coercion is saying you have to plead guilty to this or we're going to punish you. secret, in an illegal way. They got caught. I mean, I'm in the process with the U.S. District Courts right now with the habeas corpus writ. So anyway, I pled guilty when they released me after those 3 weeks, after those 3 weeks of torture, and like another one, they finally moved me to another block, man. And the only reason I got out is because I pled guilty. That's what coercion is. I pled guilty. I accepted a plea bargain to get back out on the streets because I was cautious. We're only supposed to fear God. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. God was telling me, if you want to be comfortable here, you're going to wind up right back in the hands of these terrorists, dude. If that guy would have got a hold of me now, I would be dead. He's still in prison. In fact, he was back on appeal. His name is Mr. Riley. He was back on appeal after being incarcerated for 2 years for murder. Sentenced to life. They were on the way to the courthouse after all this happened, after they moved me. They were on the way to the courthouse. He was acting up in the back seat. They had to turn around and they shipped him back to the pen. So he was doing that to me all along, waiting there in that cell for nothing, got shipped back to the pen. Didn't even get to go to trial or an appeal trial. What a waste of time. I was telling those people the whole time that the dude was psychotic at my door, prying open the bean hole, spraying me with cleaner, hitting me with the mop handle, chucking stuff in my cell, throwing urine in my cell, trying to, get them to open the door, dispose of themselves, doing all this stuff to me, and telling them they were popping the door from control, trying to get this dude to attack me. If it hadn't been for a CO walking around when they popped the door the 7th time and he came in there, I would have been dead. I would have been like, in critical condition, man. Critical condition. Or dead. It's not a game. It's not a game. I refused to deny my faith the whole time. I refused to deny my faith that whole time. Honestly. A person can look at suffering all they want. They can sit there and strain at a gnat if they want to. But as long as they came back to Jesus Christ 7 times, 70 times, they'll be forgiven. They'll be forgiven. And it's not anything that I'm mentioning because I was some big old loof and didn't deserve the name of being a Christian or a person who's being attacked. But here's the thing. Coercion is a serious problem. Coercion is a serious problem. If anybody wants to be free and delivered and protected like cords of 3, where cords of 3 are together, where 2 or 3 are gathered, that's where the presence of the Lord is going to be. If you don't have the cords of 3 and you're all alone, one strand is easily broken. So how do we get that? Gang-related activity? No. How does the enemy get it? Gang-related activity. It's difficult to carry your cross. It's difficult to imagine yourself just ignoring all the things around you that you need to battle, that you need help battling, right? And it's spiritual, but it's also manual. We fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and wickedness in high places. If wickedness in high places did exist, the manual battle wouldn't have to happen. But I want to let y'all know that I got an evading arrest charge with a motor vehicle, partially because I was afraid of those who mistreated me. The fact that I spread the news after I got out, wrote letters. They never got the letters. The sheriff, the justice of the peace judge, I talked to them both in their office, man, about it. You get my letters? No. I was writing SOS letters like hotcakes, sweaty, scared that I was going to get killed while I was going through it. Never got it, none of them. Now I'm going through this process of legalism, and it's just taking so long. It's taking so long that I'm stuck here, But I've got a good spirit. I got a good spirit about it. So